Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Energy Conference 2014 launched with emphasis to be placed on local content. Major infrastructural development for East Trinidad and Tobago lands to be sourced for a judicial center and administrative complex. Thank you for joining us. Energy Conference 2014 kicked off at its annual event at the Hyatt Regency Hotel on Monday. Opening the conference, Energy and Energy Affairs Minister Senator Kevin Ramnarine says this year's focus will be placed on increasing local content in the sector.
Energy driving the backbone of our economy. There's no doubt focus is placed on keeping up in a progressive energy world. The central theme of this year's Energy Conference here at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. The conference is one of the highly anticipated events by global investors wishing to enter the Trinidad and Tobago oil and gas market. Hosted by the Energy Chamber of Trinidad and Tobago, the conference aims to zoom in on changes that positively affect the operations of the industry while networking with players in the field. Chairman of the Chamber, Roger Parker, says this year's event focuses much on securing investment at all levels of the energy sector while maintaining competitiveness.
The increase in drilling that we have seen has come about because of policy measures introduced by the government, and specifically the series of fiscal reform measures introduced in successive national budgets between 2010 and 2013. Discussions at the Energy Conference directly feed into those policy reforms. In other words, talk here in this room led to new drilling and therefore new production, new reserves, new investments, jobs, and government revenue.
While it's clear that resurgence in the upstream sector is ongoing, a right mix for achieving success in the changing oil and gas world was outlined during the conference. Critical areas needed to be addressed were listed as rule of law, a need for greater collaboration among companies and state, fiscal measures, ease of doing business, subsurface attractiveness, commercial attractiveness, and infrastructure support. High-level discussions involving heads of BPTT, Norman Christie, and the chairman of Trinity Exploration and Production, Bruce Dingwall, described these as current issues affecting and in need of addressing in the upstream sector.
We're in a deep industrial process. It's hard work.
It is.
And we've got to grind it all the time, every day, across every aspect of our business, because the small incremental bits that we can create every day, in the end, helps us generate a safe business. And I think we've had a good time here for 30, 40 years, and I think we've done a pretty good job. But I really think we could step it up a gear, and I think that leadership for that is going to have to come from industry.
This year's conference saw the participation of over 50 local companies, comprising 95% of the entire exhibition. From players in the services sector to companies involved in exploration and state-owned oil and gas agencies representing the up and local content, Minister Ramnarine says is much needed.
Trinidadian companies need to have a fair chance and a fair shot of getting work in the upstream, and by that I don't mean catering and laundry and renting cars and houses and so on. I mean in actually supplying the technical services that go into drilling a well. And there are many companies in Trinidad that have proven themselves outside, in Canada and in the North Sea and in Africa and so on. So there's no reason why they can't perform here the same way they perform internationally. And there are those who are in Trinidad and are not outside who must be given the opportunity to grow and develop.
Energy Conference 2014 continues until February 5th with speakers including Petrotren's president Khaled Hassan Ali and a chairman from Trinidad and Tobago's Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, Victor Hart. Kimberly Calawan, News 4.
In other news, Senator the Honourable Gary Griffith, Minister of National Security, has revealed that government spent $1.6 million overall to host crime consultant William Bratton, who visited Trinidad and Tobago last November. Mr. Bratton, who is now the police commissioner to New York City, was contracted to collaborate with the government of Trinidad and Tobago to undergo a precise revision of crime in the country, specifically the emergence and operations of gangs.
The total costs incurred by the state with respect to the visit by Mr. Bratton and his team was $27,500 US. The professional fees for Mr. Bratton, it included, and the fees involved preparing an agenda and presentation material for Trinidad and Tobago Crime Reduction Seminar, attend pre-seminar teleconferences in New York City and dinner meetings in Trinidad and Tobago, deliver a crime reduction seminar in Trinidad and Tobago, gather initial TTPS organizational and operational information and data to develop and deliver a longer-term assessment and plan of action engagement.
Minister Griffith also gives a breakdown of how the money was spent.
There was a request for the breakdown in expenses: the airfare, $4,500 US, hotel, $1,500 US, meals, $675 US, and transportation, $825 US, amounting to $27,500 US. Because this was for 3 persons, Madam Deputy Speaker, Mr. Bill Bratton and 2 of his senior executives. The cost overall of hosting the Bill Bratton Seminar, A Country to Defend, on November 12, 2013, at the Hyatt Regency, Port of Spain, was $1,462,796.04. The expenditure presented the cost of rental of the Hyatt premises, production of seminar material, decor, media advertising, catering services.
The Honourable Minister explained that no contract was signed with Mr. Bratton and his firm, the Bratton Group. However, noted that the visit was significant as the group was tasked with making recommendations on crime prevention initiatives and possible implementation of the COMSTAT program. Minister Griffith said it would be up to the government to accept the recommendations. Since his visit, Mr. Bratton has returned to the post of New York City Police Commissioner. Felicia Wilson-Moore, News 4.
When we come back, East Trinidad to benefit from infrastructural development. Stay with us. Major infrastructural and community development works are planned for the East Trinidad communities of Arouca, Trincity and Bonaire. These planned works have been announced by the Ministers of Community Development and the Environment and Water Resources during a recent Parliament sitting. The need for a community centre in Trincity has been recognized and is being addressed. This is the assurance coming from Minister of Community Development, the Honourable Winston Gypsy Peters. Responding to questions in the House, Minister Peters says a review of the community centres in the area has led to his ministry identifying the need for community centres in 2 communities and the possible refurbishment or reconstruction of another.
Construction of the Bonaire Garden Community Centre will be scheduled in accordance with the allocation provided to the ministry under the development program. The community centre, located at Victoria Street, Arouca, was refurbished in 2004. Is currently being assessed to determine whether it is to be refurbished or reconstructed. With regards to the construction of a community centre in Trincity area, the Ministry of Community Development is in the process of identifying a suitable site for the location of the proposed centre.
Meanwhile, the construction and possible renovation of community centres and desilting of rivers are some of the other works planned for East Trinidad. Minister of the Environment and Water Resources, Senator the Honourable Ganga Singh, says these works are part of a continued plan of works for the area. He says one of the major works planned involves addressing the flooding issue in some East Trinidad communities. He adds that work has been done to alleviate the problem, but more work is expected to commence as early as this month.
The soil in the Bonaire Garden area is very susceptible to erosion. In the past 2 years, erosion protection works were undertaken where reinforced concrete retaining walls were constructed to protect residences. The Drainage Division of the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources proposes to undertake clearing and desilting works under our maintenance program in the Bacadé area in February 2014. All failed banks were identified and will be reinstated. The estimated duration for these works is 2 months.
Minister Singh assures that despite the propensity for flooding in the area, the government is doing its best to come up with solutions in a timely and effective manner. Some of the other works which are in progress to address flooding in the area include the widening of the river and the building of detention ponds. The Ministry of Tobago Development is one step closer to acquiring land in the east of Tobago to construct the Tobago Integrated University Campus, a judicial center, and the East Administrative Complex of the Ministry of Tobago Development.
As recent as January the 9th, 2014, the Cabinet of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago has considered and approved the report of the Land Site Selection Committee of the Human Capital Development Committee of the Ministry of Tobago Development. The decision of the Cabinet called principally for two things. One, the continuation of advanced discussions now led by the Property and Real Estate Division of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development for the acquisition of some 75 acres of the Cameron Estate, which is located at Roxborough and placed number 1 in the list of sites reviewed by the committee.
According to the Honourable Minister, Cabinet also approved the exploration of the possibility of utilizing the Kendall Estate in Tobago East for the purposes of constructing either or all of the aforementioned projects. Minister Baker noted that the Kendall Estate is now administered by the Tobago House of Assembly, while the Cameron Estate is private lands.
In this regard, formal discussions will begin with the Tobago House of Assembly and the Cabinet-appointed steering committee to ensure that the THA, in the first instance, has a better idea of the concept of the integrated university campus, a matter which I had raised with the Chief Secretary almost 6 months ago.
Sport is next. Stay with us. Two central Trinidad communities can now enjoy the camaraderie and joy of sport on their upgraded recreation grounds. The Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago completed works at Bocaru as well as Phoenix Park recreational grounds and handed over the keys last Thursday to a representative of the Couva Tabaquite Talparo Regional Corporation. Wayne Cunningham has more.
The Honorable Anil Roberts, Minister of Sport, hails the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago for their quality work at the upgraded recreation grounds in Central, ensuring that communities have access to facilities. I know the people who live in these communities are extremely grateful for the opportunity to access and enjoy the appropriate venues for sport and recreation. This is all part of the government's efforts in all sectors to develop safe spaces where sporting talent can be nurtured and where critical family and community ties can be forged, the minister said. Both facilities are now ready for use with the following amenities: outfield with turf wickets, hard courts for basketball and netball, 500-seater pavilion with ramp as well as office, meeting and storage spaces, change rooms with lockers, showers and toilets including disabled access toilet, 2 cricket practice nets, jogging track, car park, perimeter fencing and drainage. Phoenix Park Recreation Grounds saw action as early as Sunday with a scheduled Women's Cricket League match between technocrats and cricket lovers. Work supervisor at the corporation, Ian Gokul, said the upgrades were very timely and suited the needs of both communities. He added that both grounds will be independently managed by a committee of stakeholders, including respective village councils and sports clubs in the area. Secretary of the Bocaru Village Council, Rina Prasad, said she was grateful for the work done by the sports company, especially given the state of the ground before, stating that the spot was just an empty lot before work began. Sharing similar sentiments was Gangarang Gopal, councillor for Brechin Castle, Esperanza. The two grounds, along with Knoll Street in Currep, are the 3 recreation grounds already handed over by the sports company, whose remit it is to upgrade these grounds for the benefit of grassroots sports and community enhancement. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
News 4 continues right after the break. Stay with us. The community of Monroche Road came alive with the powerful sounds of drumming as stick fighters faced each other in the Gael. This is a feature that we deem the greatest show on earth, but the residents of the area chose to highlight.
According to Citizens for Conservation, stick fighting was practiced in Trinidad as early as the late 1700s. This was a ritual dating back to the times of slavery, where men would duel with sticks or bois in gaels or rings. To the accompaniment of drumming and singing, often in patois, the stick fighters would use their skills in dance-like motions to defend themselves from their adversaries. The prize was the accolades resulting from the wounding and sometimes death of opponents. Stick fighting was banned in 1880 in response to the Canboulay riots, but in 1937, stick fighting was reintroduced in controlled competitions. Today, stick fighting gaels all over Trinidad and Tobago form an important attraction as part of the annual carnival celebrations. On Friday, residents of Monroche Road, Gasparillo, welcomed with open arms its first annual stick fighting competition. Organizer for the event, Mr. Claude Neptune, said the showing is one which exemplifies his values of unity and togetherness.
Seeing that what is going on in this country, we are here to promote good things. We are here to promote family life, and we are promoting, community togetherness, really. Because the Bible says a family that pray together, stay together. And I believe in that. So I am proud to be here, and I'm proud to launch out this first our stick fight, our annual stick fight competition, and want to make it a lifetime.
The stick fighting competition has been receiving the support of not only the residents of the area, but also the government through the Member of Parliament for the area.
It's our cultural art form, and it's mostly associated with the countryside area. And happy Mr. Neptune, and I'm told that the Member of Parliament, Dr. Ram Bachchan, he was supposed to be here this evening. Unfortunately, he cannot make it, but he's also part and parcel of this whole promotion, supporting Mr. Neptune and the School of Arts, supporting him with all his adventures for a number of years since he came into the constituency here. And we continue to lend support to the cultural art form and to all other social and cultural activities within the constituency, within the region, within the district. I know recently, sometime last year, for Indian Arrival Day at Surprise Recreation Ground, not too far from here, we had our Tasarama. Then we went on to Tabakit for emancipation, and Neptune was with us to Tabakit, supporting the culture in Tabakit. And today we are here, lending support here to this particular community with stick fighting here in Monroche.
Meanwhile, Councillor for the area, Suresh Puran Maharaj, believes the competition will continue to grow and become something that the Burgesses can be proud of.
We have never had stick fighting in this part of the area before. It's the very first time, and I'm very pleased to be associated with men like Claude Neptune and our chairman of the corporation, Mr. Henry Awong. This is something that people look forward to at Carnival time. Stick fighting, the drumming, the bus head, the blood, you understand? And this is a real important part of the Carnival festival. Anywhere you go in the country around this time is stick fighting. And we try to promote the same thing in our very humble area. You understand? People were deprived this part of the area for quite a long time. We have had stick fighting in Tabakit, Lower Gasparillo, we have had in Tortuga, Prisal, but never in this part of the area. And I must say to the organizers, in a very special way, thank you very much for organizing this. And we know this is the first, and we are heading for a long way ahead.
The stick fighting competition at Monroche Road, Gasparillo, will take place every Friday and Saturday, with the grand finals set to take place on Carnival Sunday. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.